Hello everybody, this is KevinVG207 and today I'll be talking about a secret hidden in Mario Kart Wii's game files. Specifically, I'll be explaining the mysterious Course.0 file. Course.0 was first found years ago by hackers who looked into the game's file system. It's located inside Koopa Course.ss, Bowser's Castle's track file. This strange Course.0 didn't look like anything else found in the game's files and significantly helped the modder's understanding of the game's course files. Opening the file in a text editor reveals that it describes an older version of the track in some markup language, before it would have been digitally compressed to the standard format used everywhere else in the game. The file also contains a list of all Mario Kart DS tracks, including unused ones. Based on the header info, we can see that this file has been created by Yabuki Kosuke using the software called JMap. Another such JMap file has been discovered in files of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker for GameCube. Anyway, Yabuki Kosuke is part of the key staff of the Mario Kart franchise from Mario Kart Wii onward. He's also the producer for the Switch game ARMS. But I digress. The file seems to have been created on August 30th, 2007 at 11:50 in the morning. That's about a month and a half after the reveal of Mario Kart Wii at E3 2007. Based on the date information embedded in Nintendo's Expert Staff Ghost file, we can see that the final Bowser's Castle was finished around March 21st, 2008, which is the date on which the Expert Ghost data was recorded. It's about a month before release. This means there's about 6 months between the creation of this JMap file and the completion of the final track. In short, we basically have a beta version of Bowser's Castle 6 months prior to the game's release. Now what can we find in this Course.0 file? I think most importantly, data for 3D triangles with material names included. My friend Riidefi, who helped immensely during the making of this video, thank you very much, wrote a script to convert the data into an actual 3D model with material names included. Now's a good time to tell you that Mario Kart Wii uses 2 separate 3D models for the track you drive on. One for the visual model that you see when you play, and one for the collision data that your vehicle uses to determine what it's driving on or colliding with. The data found in Course.0 is likely the collision data only, seeing how it lacks any texturing data, but as you'll later see, I believe Nintendo didn't have a specific visual model just yet, as it seems this version of Bowser's Castle only really has the general layout set in stone. Given this 3D geometry, I decided to make this model into a drivable track. As far as I can tell, nobody's even tried this before, or at the very least documented it, even though the Course.0 file has been known for a long time. So I created some fake development textures and applied them to the track. I had to guess what some of the materials were since they had rather cryptic names. Valley became Fall Boundary, Dash is Boost Panel, Road_MH was a tricky one since it's used on a lot of half-pipe edges. It's likely the type of road that pushes you back down like it does in the original game. You might be noticing this huge gap in the track, but as you may remember, this part of the track is the waving road in the castle. It's an object and not part of the stationary geometry. As you'll see later, the waving track object fits perfectly with this early version of the track. It fits so well I was surprised to see that Nintendo didn't change much to it after 6 months. Anyway, being done with the track model, it was time for the data file, the KMP. The KMP contains all kinds of information about the course, like enemy and item routes, checkpoints, respawn points, object positions, cameras and more. A lot of these things are actually found in that JMap file, and it was possible just to copy-paste the start position objects over to the actual KMP file. Interestingly, there's a cannon point described in Course.0, even though no cannon exists in the final game. It's likely just for testing, and this version of Bowser's Castle doesn't have a cannon trigger. The cannon exit location would have been in the middle of the split path, after the big half-pipe. Item routes do not exist in Course.0, and the enemy routes seem to be written down as interpolated Bezier curves, unlike the final game where it's just points connected by lines. Checkpoints would have taken me ages to do by hand, but luckily the final track's checkpoints worked perfectly fine, so I just ignored these. Camera data is absent in Course.0 as well, so I just kept the final camera data. Now we go to objects. I was able to manually copy-paste the data over from Course.0 to the actual KMP, and surprisingly it all works. The position of some of the item boxes is different from the final, so we'll be checking that out in the game soon. With all this done, I'm basically ready to show you what the beta Bowser Castle plays like. I don't know why nobody's done this before, because I couldn't find any documentation about actually driving this old version, and keep in mind there was no texture data, so there's no way to know what this would have looked like originally. Oh, and I added the original skybox just because staring at blackness would have been kind of boring. Anyway, time to launch the game. Alright, here we are in Wii. We are back to live commentary. So, I forgot to mention I'll be releasing this course file in the description below. You can use it with CTGP My Stuff folder and it'll replace Bowser's Castle. So I'm going to play it with CPUs because they actually work and I can show item boxes and stuff, as well as the opening cameras, which are basically, well, they are from the original, or the final track, I should say. So here we go. You can see that the waving road doesn't really fit with the rest, and it's the only textured part of the track. Alright, and there we go. That's not, the cameras were not originally in the Course.0 file though. Those were just the final cameras. But yeah, we can play it and the CPUs will actually work. I'm gonna do one lap where I just drive through it. Like, I already recorded this section earlier, but I noticed that if I started like talking about stuff, let's just do a little overview first, alright? Oh my, I'm just getting sniped already. So yeah, this is the only like detailed and textured part of the track, which is, you know, the only part that's left from the final. Because we don't have the, like, the beta version of that wavy road texture yet, or section. So here we go. And the half pipes actually work, which is really nice. There we go. Whoops. Oh, we're still alive. Okay. So this section is kind of strange. Like, that's very different from the original. And there's item boxes on this section right here. There are not supposed to be item boxes on the spiral. Oh my, I'm getting loot. Oh, look, yeah, Nintendo forgot a little section right there. We'll have a look at that later. I mean, this is clearly a very early version. There's a few collision problems too over here. Yeah, so, you know, kind of incomplete. You can clearly tell this is not at all a complete section. This is why I was thinking that there was no visual model just yet of this track, because it doesn't feel complete at all. Now I guess I'll explain the different collision types, because the colors are what collision they are. So this standard road is, well, the red is just the road. Yellow, which is only over here, or brown yellow is dirt, which is only in this section of the track, so they were still working on this. Gray that you see over here is actually wall collision. So I don't know why, but this area over here had the wall material. So yeah, you better not drive on that. I'll show it later, but yeah. It's the same wall that you see everywhere else. The dark, the bright red. So that's dark red's normal road. Bright red is the sticky road, which stops you from flying off. Basically, it's used in a few places. Let's see, yeah, so this is basically the only fully textured model. For some reason, like, clearly this was, clearly they used a different waving track section, because there are a few poles right here that were stationary. You can see there's a pole collision right there that for some reason shouldn't have been there, or maybe these pole collisions weren't there in the original, but I believe this one should have collision. Yeah, I don't understand what Nintendo did here. This must have been, the poles must have not been there on the actual model at the time. That's just what I'm guessing. This is just speculation. We have no idea what this is. So, yeah. Clearly this is not the final version, because you can, like, kind of hop on the walls. The little side areas right there are actually wall, so if you can land on them, you can kind of, yeah, get stuck. Oh boy. There's nothing out here. Oh yeah, dark gray is fall boundary, but you can probably guess that if you fall off the track, you can get respawned. So here, this area is kind of very wonky. Whoops, well, there goes that. This area is very wonky. The purple is actually the part of the road that's supposed to make you go back. So if I drive on this, it'll turn me around. It's the same that's used over there in the half-pipe area to stop you from flying off. But for some reason, it's used over here. This is likely due to testing. We have no idea why this is here, and yeah, they probably were testing how this worked. And the yellow here is boost panel, clearly. Yeah, it just turns you around there. This is kind of weird. The dark blue is half-pipe, and the light blue is the half-pipe walls that are stopping you from flying off if you're on the half-pipe section. So yeah, here's the purple again. You'll see that I can't drive up this. It'll make you go straight back down. Let me just drive straight up to it. I'm just holding A, it just turns me around. So that's how that works. That's how the original track works as well. For some reason there's a ramp here. Now, there's clearly a ramp in the original, but it's strange. You can actually, like, drive around it for some reason. So I guess you had the choice to trick or go around. I have no idea, but yeah, that's the thing. Yep. So this area is kind of strange. So there's more wall that's supposed to push you back down, and then more weird invisible half-pipe road for some reason. I don't know. They were probably experimenting with materials right there. And you can actually like make a shortcut out of this. So yep, skip the entire spiral like you can in the original. Like you can do the glitch. Also, there's 2 sets of item boxes right here, which are not there in the original. So yeah, they changed the item box layout. So that's interesting. And I think you can also, like, let's do the glitch, guys. Oh, what? I got rejected. But anyway, you can still skip the spiral, kind of. And another thing, I think I mentioned this here. There's this little thing that's sticking out. So this is kind of a bug. Yep. That's probably not supposed to be there. Clearly, that's not supposed to be there. It's just a little bit of a collision problem. That you know, this is an early version. What do you expect? There was no trick ramp on this right there. It's just road. You can only wheelie off it, basically. And like I mentioned, this area is kind of wonky with the collision, and you can go inside the wall because reasons. I think that's actually about it when it comes to this track. Really, you can time travel it. You can. It works. Let's jump onto the wall. Yeah, that doesn't work that well. I don't know why it was a wall collision material. It's probably they're probably still working on it. Clearly, it's not properly done yet. There's even gaps between there and the road. It is nowhere near final. This is 6 months before the actual final version of the track, so they have had tons of time to do stuff. But I think this is a really cool discovery, and I don't know why anyone's never done this before. So again, if you want to download this model or track, and you have CTGP, Custom Track Grand Prix, if you haven't heard of that, it's basically a mod for this game that allows you to play custom tracks. So it also allows you to add any custom track to the game that you want, including this one. So yeah, link to download this is in the description. I hope you enjoyed this kind of script-based video that I don't usually do. I don't know, let me know what you thought. And I think this is a really interesting thing that's never really been shown before. So that's nice. And we're gonna finish the track here, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.